Alright, welcome back. New day. It's been a fat minute, but I have an issue. It's got some sort of boost leak problem, leaking a little bit of coolant, and seems like under power the boost kind of fluctuates. So it's either got wastegate issue, turbo seals. So the solution to that is this $50 Facebook Marketplace STI Turbo. Pretty sick deal. Let me show you. This bad boy right here. This was 50 bucks on Facebook. It is a genuine VF43 from a newer STI. It'll slap right in here. And no shaft play, spins freely, like back and forth, side to side, nothing. So we should be golden. And then hopefully this wastegate is good as well. But all this will straight directly bolt up to here. And it'll solve two issues at once. It'll solve the boost, wastegate issue, and it'll also solve the car being too slow. Let's do it. So first we gotta unveil the rat's nest. While I'm in here, I am also going to delete this expansion tank because this could also be the leak. So I'm kind of knocking out a bunch with one stone, doing the turbo. So this is gonna go bye-bye. I'm just gonna run it as a loop, and this will act as the expansion tank now because coolant runs through this bad boy anyways, and we'll be good to go. So shouldn't be too complicated. And then maybe I'll reroute some of these breather lines, make them a little better because the routing on them is not that great. This one started to melt from this, and then who knows what else is in here. But kind of gonna uncover the rat's nest really quick and make sure it's all good to go. But let's take the intercooler off, expansion tank, heat tank. May need to relocate that bad boy out of the way so we can get at everything. And I noticed as well there's some interesting wiring going on here, and I'm not sure what it's for. I've got a ballast light plug that runs across the front to a bunch of relays over here. These headlights are aftermarket, so I'm wondering if that's all it is, but they're not really plugged in correctly. So I'm going to try to figure that out as well. But I see two wires running into the firewall, and they come over here kind of where you tie into like map sensor. So I'm wondering if maybe this had speed density at one point for some reason, but it's got some weird tie-ins under this intake as well. So I'm just gonna try to do some searching, figuring it out while I'm in here, and see what we can do. Alright, let's get after it. Oh yeah, nice push. Alright, so check this out. So you've got coolant on top of the turbo there, and then if you look down in that valley, let's see if we can get down in there. There's a big old puddle right on the block, kind of tucked in there, right down there. Oh, that coolant, very nice. Well, there's your smell.
Bro, you think this will fit in the Beamer?
I mean, anything can fit. Is it big? Oh my gosh.
Bro, it's like 12 times bigger than the friggin' Subaru Turbo.
Yeah.
I was like, sure. Let's put them on Facebook.
Like them suckers.
Please.
Oh, thanks, dude. Oh, daddy. I forgot about needing new gaskets. I'm gonna have to make a trip. Right on. No major casualties. Alright, so we got the turbo out here. We got it chilling on the bench. And so there's the one I just pulled. That's the one that's going in. That's a Cummins turbo we just pulled off of a truck outside. I'm gonna try to sell that on Facebook. We are parting out an 03 Cummins right now, so if you guys are in need and you're in Wyoming, give me a shout. But I'm ready to prep this guy out. Turbo drain should still be usable. Those can be a pain to get back on occasionally. If you're using the wrong kind of hose as well, it kind of sucks. So I think that one should be fine. It's not cracked or anything. It is pretty firm, but I'm fine running that. It should still seal up just fine. I do need to just take off these hoses here because it is running a Cobb 3-port boost controller. So with the 3-port, you just run a hose from here to the controller and then from here to the controller. So we won't have to worry about that. And then I do have the expansion tank off as well. And to loop it back in, since I do have an air oil separator here, make sure you can see. Yep. I do have an air oil separator. I'm going to delete that guy because those welds can break on the aftermarket ones. It also can sometimes leak. You've got an extra hose, you know, jammed in there for coolant to get everywhere. I'm actually fairly certain that's the reason why I had coolant leaking here. In between all the turbo and all that crap, there was quite a big puddle down in there. Was because that setup was just messed up. So what I'm going to do is I do have this guy, a air oil separator that can act as the expansion tank. So we're going to loop that to here, and then this one will loop back onto the turbo like it was before, and then we'll have closed loop again on that coolant system. No expansion tank. And then there is one last thing that you have to do. I already took off the crossover tube that was bolted to the front of the radiator here that goes over to your expansion over there. That kind of runs back because that's going to be overflow from the expansion tank. You just get rid of that. You run your radiator hose directly into the expansion over here, which I've already done. Zip ties and everything tight all the way into there. And then I will just weld this up with the handy dandy TIG welder right there. So that will be coming soon here. And then I uncovered some goofy wiring for the fans while I was in here. These have some like very simple style Deutsch connectors on there, but the wiring came out, so I bought one that's actually just a single 4-plug, and it's got a pigtail. You can kind of see the pins are actually pretty fudged up on the inside of these bad boys as well. So we will rewire that as well before we go out and drive it, and then we'll be good to go. So rerouting, I went and picked up some new hardware from Menards so that I have fresh bolts on the downpipe and everything. All that good stuff was all kind of jacked up. One of them was not even tight because it was cross-threaded onto the downpipe, so we actually had an exhaust leak as well. So who knows if this thing was even hitting peak boost or anything. So we're gonna get that all sorted. So here we go. Look like a ding dong or what? check it out. Oh yeah. Kinda looks a little funky, but where even is it? What the? Hold on a second. Right there. Look at that. Crimp down there. Not coming off. But everything's tight now. Should leak less. So now we can snake the turbo in there. So I've got the turbo in, everything is solid on it. I'm just rerouting all these ventilation hoses, running a new coolant hose for the feed on that. And so I'm about to slap some new crimp hose clamps on. Should actually run. Cool. Runs great. Actually lines up easier. Alrighty, so got that wire pigtail all done. We're at the point where I'm going to chop off that nipple with the grinder, and we're gonna weld that shut. Call me crazy, I'm doing it in the car because I don't want to take it out and drain all the coolant. So we'll see what happens here. Something's not right. What in the world? My tungsten is hey, that's all it is. I need to write it down, honestly. Okay. So I just got back from the first test drive on this bad boy since putting in the STI turbo, and needless to say, she rips. I was actually pleasantly surprised. So fat boy runs fantastic now, and it does have that dyno tune on there, the 3-port. So dropping that bad boy in there, it runs like a dream. Holy smokes. Took it for a little drive, got some gas, and then I kind of laid into it quite a bit. Nothing too crazy, but this thing freaking drives great now. So it was great before, with a little bit of fluctuation on boost. Now when it comes on, it just freaking pulls. Like first gear, I hit the limiter so fast, I'm like, holy smokes, not used to that. It's been a while since I've driven a car that quick. So that is a boatload of fun. Only bad news is the turbo drain is leaking. I kind of sent it on there and was hoping for the best. I may be able to sneak, I gotta put it up on jacks, but sneak a hose clamp on it and tighten it down, because I know for a fact it's on the tube, it's just leaking. So but I'm gonna head home for the night, and then I'll be back tomorrow to clean up the mess I made here at the shop.